joining us today. So as you have probably seen last week, the Game and Fish Department launched the Big Game Draw application system, and we started doing some webinars to help people become more familiar with reading the rule book and higher education last week. And then tonight we're joined by Ross Morgan, and we are going to talk about how to apply for the draw. So we're going to go through the entire process of how to set up an account, how to apply. So please, whether you're joining us here in Zoom, have some questions, you can type them into the Q&A or into the chat, and we will keep an eye on those. And for those of you on Facebook, thanks for joining us that way. And please feel free to type in your questions, and we'll do our best to answer those as well. So Ross, I would like you to do an introduction and kick us off tonight.
All right, thank you. Welcome everybody. Thanks for showing up, coming to learn a little bit of information about our draw system, applying for hunts, and also creating a customer account. I know when I go to a new state or do something, it's a little more difficult for me to learn their process, but appreciate you guys coming. I'm Ross Morgan. I'm the Public Information Officer for the Northwest part of the region. And so with that, we'll get started. So this is our main page here. If you look on our main page, it has lots of different things. And when you go to apply, the first thing you're going to do, if you don't have an account, we'll go ahead and walk through that. And then for those of you that already have an account, as soon as we create that account, then we'll go in and talk about it. But create an account. First thing you're going to do is click on this customer login. Once you click on that, then it's going to take you to this page right here, and I'll show you. It's the same. You just click on that account, it takes you to this. It doesn't have a test mode. This is the actual online system. But for us tonight, we've got a test system that allows us to walk through the process, enter a credit card, and do everything we need to do, but it doesn't actually apply. So it's a great process. So when you get here, you're going to see a username or customer ID, and that customer ID is going to be your CIN. And what that is your customer identification number. And you'll get that once you apply. It'll give you that number, or once you create that account, it'll give you that number. Again, if you already have then created that account, then you'll come back to this page, and all you have to do is type in that username and password that you did, and then you'll log in. So for those of you that haven't created an account yet, the first thing you're going to do is click on Create New Account. And then it's going to go through terms and conditions. You can read all these. It's like having insurance or something like that. It's got all that. It just tells you we're going to take all your firearms. We need blood samples and everything like that. No, it's simple. It's just saying that, you know, you're going to have to create a unique customer identification number. We're going to ask you for your date of birth, the last 4 numbers of your social security number, not the whole one. And that's a security. Reason we only ask for the last 4 is for security purposes. We don't want your own social security number, but all this information is secure. It's secure on our web browser, so you don't have to worry about that. So once you've read that and you hit agree, then you're going to go here, and this is where you enter your personal information. And we'll walk through this step by step. That way, you can see how it's done. So first name, let's see. Let's do Jimbo Fisherman. That's a great name, right? Jimbo B. Fisherman for Big Fish Fisherman. Date of birth. Let's go Jimbo. So this is going to be your date of birth. Let's say 7/19 of 1982. The last 4 numbers of your social security number. We'll do 5668. And again, I'm just making these numbers up just to show you, but you'll actually use your information here. Email, you know, so it doesn't require you to enter an email. If you notice these little red, this indicates a value that is required. So everyone with a red asterisk, that required, that we need that information. You don't have to put your middle initial. You don't have to have an email, but it's great to have an email. You can get on a Gov delivery list. We're going to send you emails out about hunts coming up. You know, if we have what we used to call fire sales or leftover tags or something like that, you'll be put on those lists. And it's a You know, we don't bug you all the time. You don't get that many emails, so it's not like we're spamming you, telling you that your car insurance is running out and you need to redo it. So we'll go with Jimbo the Fish at msn.com. And then username. So usernames are, you can create any unique username. We'll go with Jimbo the Fisherman. And so it's too big. Can't create that. So we're going to go Jimbo Fishing. And it'll tell you right here on the side. If your username is available, it will tell you that it's available. If it says unavailable, then you're going to have to create a different username. And it can be anything. You know, your name and you know, or maybe your grandkid's name and their year they were born, like John 1972 or something like that. Something that you might be able to remember. Password, again, passwords are very unique. You have to create a password that has capital letter, regular letters, symbols, the and, the percent, exclamation mark, and then also numbers. And so what you want to do when you're creating these is make sure that you write it down. I always have to do that. Make sure that I write out that password. I put it on a piece of paper and then I try to type it. So I'm going to do Fisher, let's say Fisherman with a capital F, exclamation mark, 2020. So we'll do that again. And so once you've done that, then you create a security question. It's going to be a security question that they ask you. So if you forgot your username, or I mean your password, then you'll be able to answer a security question. You'll be able to help yourself get logged back in and reset your password. So we'll go with what is your favorite color? And I'm going to say brown for brown trout. So we hit save and continue. And so it worked. What will happen up here is if your password didn't match, if you typed it one way and then when you get your confirmation email, if they don't match, then it'll automatically say up here, emails didn't match, or your email is, or your password didn't match, or your password is not formatted properly. And so you can go from there. And again, if you ever have any questions with any of this while you're doing that, you can always give us a call in our information center. We'll give you that number here in a little bit. Address, we're going to do 7890 Fish Lane, City, Fishville, And if I'm going too fast, let me know if you have questions. I know Jeremy's monitoring, Tristana's monitoring, so moderating, kind of watching. If there's going too fast, say something in the chat, let me know, and I will slow down. Fishville, Alabama, that sounds good. Zip code 99870. You're definitely in the United States. If you're outside the U.S., you're going to do that. All you're going to do is click on the down tab here, and that'll tell you. Number 908-450-4567. Have a secondary number, but so numbers are important, and the reason that we are asking for these numbers, if we have a question about your account, we need verification, or say you put in for an elk hunt and you opted to be on the population management list, then we're going to need that number to contact you to let you know that, hey, you're number 3 on the list. Would you like to take that one? Next thing is, are you a New Mexico resident? Since I'm from Alabama, I'm going to say no. So I'm not a resident, but if you're a resident, you're going to hit yes. And here you can click on out of mailings. So if you don't want to get those mailings on things that are happening with the game and fish, like maybe a fish report or a news release about a bear or a changing hunt structures or leftover tags or something like that, you can always opt out of those mailings there. Again, we don't put a whole bunch of them out there. It's not overwhelming for your email. It's not going to fill up your mailbox. So I like to leave those open because I want to know everything that's going on as far as the gaming. And again, down here, this will tell you everything you need to know. If there's an error, it's going to give you this little red. Set it on the side, and then it'll tell you up here in this box exactly what you should do. Once you got your, yes, ma'am.
One more thing on the opting out of mailings. This year, we're getting ready to announce an incentive program for people who apply for the draw early. And if you opt out of mailings, you will not, out of mailings or emails, you will not be eligible for that because we will have no way to reach you. And since it is an online program and we are working through the email system, make sure and leave that one so you can get those emails if you are chosen as a person who will get one of the incentives. So.
Well, I think I've seen some of those incentives, and I sure wish that I was in line for those. But
yeah,
as
sorry.
an employee, I can't. That's all right. That's all right. Okay, so we got all that information in there. Thank you, Christina, for that. That's great. We're going to hit save and continue. And then we're going to finish on. This is the additional information. We're already at number 4 out of 5. Gender, male or female. Your height, I'm 5 feet, 8 inches. I weigh 170. There you go. Eye color, let's do hazel. Hair, pretty much don't have anymore, but we're going to go with blonde with what's left. Driver's license number, again, this information is not required. This information is, again, driver's license numbers, 99876. That's going to be out of Alabama. That helps us with information. Say there's an officer and he for some reason comes into your camp and checks you, we can match those driver's license numbers, you know, and also it helps us look you up and do other things. If you have a hunter ed number, you can enter that there. We reciprocate with other states as far as hunter ed numbers. So me being from Alabama, if I had a hunter ed number, I could put it in there. New Mexico, you only have to be under the age of 18 to have hunter ed in New Mexico, but like Colorado, you need it at any age. So this helps us with that. If you opted in the mentored youth number, if you're a young kid, then you want to put that number there as well. That's gonna help you apply for those hunts that are mentored youth members only. So when you hit save and continue. So it's going to ask me to review all my information I've entered, make any necessary corrections, and respond to the conditions of the certification. So always look up in this top box here. This is going to give you all the information you need to know. This won't be here, won't be saying it's a test development purposes only. If there's red up here, it's going to tell you your name's wrong. It's probably not going to tell you your name's wrong, but it'll say password's incorrect or something like that, so it'll help you fill those out. So we've got all our information, favorite color brown trout fishing. I'm going to go through and verify it. If I get here, I'm going to look and say, yep, Alabama, non-resident. We do have a lot of people that it'll automatically pick it up, but sometimes if someone changes it, it might not pick it up. So you want to make sure that if you are resident that you click yes, because if you don't, and you click non-resident and you are a New Mexico resident, then you're going to get in there and see those non-resident fees and wonder why you have to pay those higher fees, and then we got to go in and change your account and do things like that. So, gender, eye color, we got all that. It's going to tell you at the bottom of the certification that you're certified that all that information provided is true and correct, and you understand it's unlawful to provide false information. We just want to make sure we got the correct information. So here, you're going to have to, a lot of people hit finish. Always make sure you pay attention to this below here. You're going to have to accept or decline it. Obviously, if you decline it, then it's going to kick you back and push you out again, and you'll have to redo it. So once you do that, you hit finish. And then, all right, we're in. Jimbo Fisherman. And I talked a minute ago about that customer identification number. And if you go right here, it'll say right here. You can also go here and print this. It says print your CIN number. It's going to have your information here. Matter of fact, if you draw a hunt or you buy a game hunting license or a small game license or a fishing license, they're going to show up on here as well. Now, remember, you're always still going to want to carry that license with you that's issued by the state. Fishing license you can take a picture of, but hunting license, you're always going to want to have that license, especially if there's a tag attached to it. You definitely have to have that tag. So you can't just say, oh, I got it right here. If you want to kill an animal, you have no way to tag. So once you've done that, and then so before we get started into applying, I'm just going to go over a couple of little things right here on this. Go to home, your home account up here at the top. The home's going to tell you, it's going to talk to you about some information. You want to donate with the Share with Wildlife program. Share with Wildlife, they do the license plates, so you've seen the wildlife license plates out there. You click on My Account, it's going to give you all your information here. It's going to give you everything. So if you need to change anything, you can go in here and change that. The only thing it's not going to allow you to change is some of the more personal information. It's not going to allow you to change your social security number or your name. In order to do that, we're going to have to give our information center a call. And the reason for that is if by some chance, which is very, very slim to none, something happens and somebody gets hold of your information, then and they want to change it and log in under you, they're going to have to go through a pretty extensive questioning and prove that it's you before we change that information. You can change your password. You can go up here and change your password, and then you can also change your security question and the answer. So a lot of things that you can do. Again, if you want to change that, you're resident, mobility impaired, then you can call our information center and do that. One thing you definitely don't want to do is create a new account. If you mess up, please call our information center. It's not a big deal. We'll get you taken care of. We'll make sure that that account is changed and the information you need is changed. When you create two accounts, then it's not going to really, it's hard for it to recognize it. And then we have to go in, we have to find both accounts, and then we have to merge them, which is a bigger process, and it's time consuming. And so for you, it's easier if you don't remember, say, this is me, I don't remember, we can look you up in the system and get that information changed for you. My purchase.
Oh, sorry. I mentioned that, Ross, as well. If you do happen to lose your password and need the Game and Fish Department to help you reset it, we can definitely do that. And when we give you a new password, going into your My Account and clicking the Renew Password at the top, you can change that so that it works and reflects something that you'll remember at this point. You can also, when you're logged in, change that security question. So if your favorite color changes from brown to rainbow, you can go ahead and note that in there as well.
My purchases. So this is going to give you a list. If you notice 2021, nothing was here. We haven't applied for 2021 yet. If 2020, I can change the year. Then everything I applied for or I purchased is going to show up in this box. And so I'll show you here in a minute when we go to apply. I'm going to log into another account where I've actually I can show you. I can actually log into my account, but it's going to show you here. This will give you, say you applied for deer and you lost that attached code and that application number, which we'll talk about. It will be right here in this section, so you can log into draw hunt applications. Again, you don't have any in here right now. This account was just created, so we don't have any. We can go back and take a look at that here in a minute once it's all done and show you what that looks like. And this is where you'll apply. So you're going to go down here and show that. License sales for 2020. This is a big one. So everybody knows, or if you don't, you're going to learn tonight that everybody has to purchase a game hunting or game hunting and fishing license to apply for anything in New Mexico for a big game species. And that's a law that was put in effect a few years ago. So what happens is a lot of people come in here and they say, oh, I need to go here. I'm going to click on it, read the agreement, and I'm going to buy me a game hunting license. So let's find it. It's in here somewhere. There it is. I'm going to buy me a game hunting license. As you notice, it's $65 because I'm signed in as a non-resident. They're going to click on this, but this is not where you get your game hunting or game hunting and fishing license for the truck. This is valid April 1st to March 31st of 2020. Okay. This is for the current year, which is going to expire March 31st. So it's not good for the drone. And here in a second, I'll show you where you're going to pick up the license. The other thing under license sales is the Elk Ranch. It's going to tell me I don't have a game hunting license. So the system's going to recognize that and say, you know what? You're going to do this, but you don't have a game hunting license. And in order to do this, you need to buy that, okay? So if you plan to do that, then I also need these things. But this is where if you were to purchase a landowner authorization from a landowner, you're going to click in here, you're going to enter it in the format that's given on the authorization, and then you continue, okay? Population management, again, this is a population management unauthorization number. So like I said, your email, that phone number, the private land biologist may call you and say, hey, you get that, that's where you're going to enter this number to apply, or actually to get that authorization and turn this into a license for, say, we have hunts down on the Bosque, Delapache, and places like that where we're doing population management hunts. Harvest reporting, which is a huge one. When you click on there, it's going to tell you everything you've harvested or have done a harvest for. Let me do this real quick. That will do. So it'll tell you all the years 2019, 2020. You click on there, it's going to tell you. What also is going to come up in here is if you drew for deer, it's going to tell you that you have a deer tag and you haven't yet reported your harvest, and you can click on this to report your harvest. And again, those are important. You only have so many days after the start of the year to do those harvest reports. We have some late season hunts like Barbie sheep that allow you to run until, I believe, April 7th. Is that correct?
I believe so. Let me double check. The regular harvest report is due February 15th without any late fees. But let me double check the second one.
You get all the way to the anything after that, you're going to be paying an $8 late fee. It's easier just to log into your account. Go ahead and do that, because if you do forget, you will not draw. If you forget to fail to do your harvest, it will kick you out for that year. So that'll be in there. It'll tell you everything. Actually, I'll show you real quick. I'll show you what that looks like.
You're correct, Ross. For those late season hunts, the Barbie sheep, ibex, javelina, oryx, or a trapper's license has until April 7th to submit their harvest report. And so if you have one of those, you can go ahead and apply for the 2021 draw. Just make sure and meet that April 7th deadline so you don't get kicked back out.
And so what I did real quick was I logged into my account so you could actually see what it looks like. It'll say mandatory reporting licenses on file for me. So this is the deer hunt I had this year. And if I look at that, I actually am going to have to change that because I actually did harvest the deer. So it's really good to go back and look and make sure that that's not good. So it's not an issue. If you made a mistake, then you could go back in and you can see that I just reported my harvest yesterday. But if you go back to previous years, you'll see 2019, I drew javelina and deer again, and actually didn't harvest either one of them. So tells you what kind of hunter I am. But anyway, draw hunt application. What's that?
What 1 for 3 harvest isn't bad.
Not bad. No, not at all. So I'm gonna.
On that, if you went hunting, if you drew a tag and went hunting or didn't go hunting and did not harvest an animal, did you have to go to the instructor?
Absolutely. If you drew a tag and you didn't go, you still have to report them. We still want to know, that gives us vital information on if we look at that and say, wow, harvest was down really low this year. Is it deer numbers are low? Do we need to look at that on surveys? Or we can go in and say, oh, no, actually, a majority of the people, for whatever reason, didn't go hunting. So it's not because of the deer, it's because people didn't actually go hunting. And that happens. There's things that happen all the time. So if I look at this is under my purchases. I'm going to go to 2020. If you go down here and you look at these special draw hunt applications, this is everything that I applied for last year. Okay. And so right here is where you find that application number and the attachment. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. These are actually the numbers that you're going to use if you want to apply in a party. Only remembering that there's most species you can apply 4 at a time. Stuff like oryx and a couple of others, ibex, bighorn sheep. There's limits on how many people can apply on the party application. So that's there, and then so I'm going to go ahead and log out of that. I'm going to go back over here. Off-white hay vehicles. If you have a four-wheeler or a side-by-side, this is where you're going to go to do education, to register it. Again, if it's going to be an on-highway vehicle, you're going to use it, then you have to go to the DMV and get a license plate. But if you're not, you're only going to be on public land, and this is where you go to register your vehicle. Hunter education, another tag. If I want to register for a class for me, this is where you're going to do for hunter education. So if you're doing this, helping your kid create an account for hunter education so they can get into one of our virtual hunter ed classes that's coming up before the draw, then this is where you're going to go to do that. Trapper education, again, if you're going to trap, you're going to have trapper education. Cougar quiz, if you're going to hunt cougars in New Mexico, you have to take this quiz and you have to pass it. Share with wildlife again, contact us. This is where you can find all of our numbers and print CIN. What I'm going to do is, let me show you real quick that I'm going to show you that print CIN card that I talked about. As you can see here, I'm a hunter ed instructor. It's going to have all my hunter ed instructor information on my CIN. My cougar ID number, it means I've passed the cougar exam. My hunter education number, which I took in New Mexico. Also my CIN. And if you go down, you can see every license that I bought this year. As far as game hunting and fishing, I got my habitat management and access validation, my habitat stamp. And then that's also my HIP number, and I'll explain what that HIP number is if you guys don't know. But these other two stamps are ones for Forest Service or BLM, and the other one's a mandatory stamp that goes to habitat on our wildlife. All down there. All right. So we're here. So we're logged in. We've got our account set. We got our information done, and we're ready to apply for it. So what we're going to do is go to Draw Hunt Applications. We're going to click on that. Then it's going to talk about that. It's going to tell you the carcass tag is required in conjunction with all big game and turkey licenses. So you have to have that tag. You can opt for an e-tag option. Okay, the e-tag will come on your phone, and so what happens is once you harvest your animal, you're going to get on your phone. It's going to time stamp it. Once you get into service, it'll mark it and everything. So if you do it on your phone, an e-tag. One thing you got to remember though, if you're going to opt for the e-tag option and you're going to be hunting in the wilderness in 16B, make sure that you have plenty of battery on your phone. It's technology. Technology is great, and the e-tag option is great, but just remember the limitations to that if you're going to choose that option. The other option is getting that tag mailed to you in the mail. It's actually a regular tag. Now, if you chose the e-tag option and later down the road you decided that, you know what, I really am not comfortable doing the e-tag yet, then you can request a paper tag. But if you request a paper tag in the mail, you can't go back and then request an e-tag. You can do e-tag to paper, but not paper back. So just some more information. It tells me right here that I don't have any current applications on file. So what we're going to do is go through and look. We have 2 draws. The first one's coming up February 10th, and that's for all your bear permits and turkey permits. And these are for our special draw areas. Bear, say the Marcus, the Barbie doll, some of those management areas, the Sergeant. Turkey, we've got some draw areas in Unit 2 and other places as well. And so that's where you draw for these. Now the difference between this draw deadline and what you draw for here in this one is that you're only applying and paying the $7 application fee, or I believe it's 16 for non-residents. Gosh, maybe I should know this.
Double check.
Okay, double check while she's doing that. And then if you draw, then you can buy the bear permit or the turkey permit, because those are purchasable over the counter. So you're able to do that. When you apply for the draw 2, which is the deer, elk, pronghorn, or any of those other big game species, you're gonna be paying the $7 application fee or the non-resident application fee, and then also the license fee upfront. So it's all going to be an upfront fee. And once you draw, then you're automatically going to get that now. So what you're going to do, you can view last year's. Of course, that can help you if you want to look at what you put in for last year. But one thing you want to be aware of is that the hunt codes can change from year to year. It may be the same unit, but there might be some shift and the hunt codes change. So if you drew, say you put in for unit 16B for a certain hunt, you want to do the same one again this year, but you didn't remember the unit, this is a great place to go back and look and say, okay, I put in for unit 16B, it was this archery hunt, the second archery. So you can go in the new rib and look and see what the new hunting or codes are for that. Because when you get down there, that hunt code may not be in anymore, and you're like, hey, what's going on? I'll show you that. We'll go back. And then so when you're ready to draw, you just say apply now.
Ross, the application fee is $7 for residents and $13 for non-residents.
13. I almost said 13. That's close. Right?
Yeah.
All right. So this is where you're at your application options. If you are creating a new application, this is where you're going to click right here. Okay. You're going to be the one that creates that application, whether you're the first of 4 individuals that are applying and you're going to give them the attach code and the application number, or you're just applying by yourself. This is where you're going to go. Now, if your buddy gave you an attach code and an application number, and you guys want to apply on the same application, then you're going to click here. And then this is where you're going to put the application number and the attach code, just like I showed you a while ago. So that's what we're going to do. But we're going to go in and create a new application. And what we'll do here in a minute, this is going to be neat. I've created another account under this test mode. So once we go through here and we apply, we're going to apply for deer. Once we do that, then I'll go back in, log into the other account, and show you how to attach to an existing application and show you how it just pulls up all that information. So we're going to hit continue. We're going to select the draw, and it's whether you're putting in for the February 10th draw or the March 17th draw. It's up to you. This time, you know, I put in for a few of these, and they're great hunts, and they're fun, and I recommend everybody put in because they're just super great hunts, especially the $5 or the Sergeant Wildlife Area or something like that. We're going to go for the regular draw. And so the first thing it's going to ask me is if I want to buy the game hunting and fishing license, and I do. It doesn't give you the option as a non-resident for the game hunting and fishing, As a resident, it'll give you the option as a game hunting or a game hunting and fishing license. So we're going to add that to the order. Everybody has to buy this habitat management and access validation. Again, that's for habitat. It'll tell you required for all hunters 18 years or older, disabled resident veterans may be exempt. And that's in conjunction with the free deer license. If you're applying for elk, then you're going to have to pay that. But you can always click on these, and it'll tell you the HIP. This is a bird. If you're a bird hunter, a duck hunter, or a dove hunter, anything to do with migratory birds, and I'll show you that. You're going to click on that. It used to be $1, and then now it's free. So that's pretty cool. You're going to click on that, and then a habitat stamp. Always click on that for me because I'm hunting Forest Service and BLM land, and that's what the habitat stamp is for. Now, new this year, another reason you should get your application in early before April 1st is because voted on by the commission recently, the habitat stamp has gone to $10. That habitat stamp will not kick in until April 1. So if you buy this stamp after April 1 of this year, it's going to be $10. So if you want to save $5 extra like me and we'll get you some McDonald's fries, then you definitely want to get in before April 1st. When I hit continue, it's going to ask me, this is the HIP, okay? This is that migratory HIP number that the feds use. And basically, it's a survey to find out the number of birds that are being killed. If you hunted ducks, me, none. Or I didn't hunt, actually, so I just put didn't hunt. I didn't hunt any of those. I didn't hunt any of those.
Hey, Ross.
Yes, ma'am.
Since Jimbo is a non-resident, he marked if he hunted ducks in Alabama or just if he hunted these things here in New Mexico?
Nope, that's a great question. I'm gonna say this is gonna be your HIP reporting for New Mexico, because I believe if you buy a license in any other state, then you're also gonna have to do this as well. So this is gonna be for New Mexico. Is that right?
Don't know, but we can look into it. We'll post it on the Facebook feed tomorrow, and we'll verify that one.
Yeah, I'm going to say that I'm almost 99% sure that this is going to be just for New Mexico, because lots of people go to other states, and when you go to another state, you know, you're going to record in that other state what you did as well. If you did hunt, you just put the number that you hunted. It's not an exact science. You don't have to count it to didn't hunt. And then band-tailed pigeon. Will you or will you not hunt this year? We just want to know whether you're going to hunt or not this year. And then right here, you got to be careful. Don't hit change combo, because if you do, it's going to kick you all the way back. And then you got to fill all this information out again. So from here, you're going to hit submit. Okay. Then it's going to show right here that you have your game hunting with habitat stamp, your habitat management access validation, and your federal HIP stamp. Okay. From here, you're going to hit add to cart. So boom. And so if you look here, it says your game hunting and combo has been added to your cart. If you look up here in your shopping cart, you're going to see that there is one item in there. And that, if you go and look, is your game hunting stamp with all your other things. So,
Ross, one more question on the HIP stamp. You only need one HIP stamp for all migratory species that you hunt in New Mexico, assuming that they have an open season. Is that correct?
that is correct.
Okay, so it would be ducks, geese, any of those ones that you just mentioned on there, dove, those are all good under the HIP.
Yeah, anything that's migratory, quail aren't obviously, but dove are. So ducks and dove are going to be on there, and you do need that. You've got to have that HIP stamp if you're going to hunt migratory. So we're in the shopping cart. We're going to go back to apply for draw hunts now. It's going to take us here. So we're going to go to create new application just because we logged out of that other deal, and then we're going to hit continue. We'll go back to the draw. And so now we're back to where we were a minute ago. Important tag information. Again, this is going to be talking about the e-tag option. If you have to, if you for some reason lose your license and you need a tag, it's going to be $7, and you have to get that at a licensed vendor. That's just a processing fee for us to make that duplicate license. So make sure that you get a duplicate. You know, if you get a duplicate, that original is not going to be valid anymore. The numbers are going to be totally different. So you want to make sure that if you end up finding that original tag, shred it, throw it in the trash, don't carry it around because it's not valid anymore. You always want to use that duplicate tag. So this is where we go to our species. So when we go to apply, we're going to click on, let's do elk. Go to elk. Again, it's going to talk about the draw. It's going to talk about the tag information. A really important part up here is talking about when you go to apply for a hunt, you're going to notice that it's going to have APRE, APRA E6A, ES, and this just basically tells you what the designation is. An A is for an antlerless elk, cow tag. An APRE is antler point restricted elk. It has to have at least a 6x6. Antler point restricted elk, 6 points or antlerless. So this is going to tell you can kill a 6x6 or better or an antlerless. Either sex is just what that means. This is the one tag that you can actually shoot any elk that walks in front of you. You can shoot a calf, you can shoot a cow, you can shoot a spike, or you can shoot a bull with big antlers. Mature bull, again, the definition of mature bull is a lot different. I believe it has to have at least one brow tine that extends 6 inches or a definite fork. And then the mature bull or antlerless, so you're going to be looking at that. And some of these, most of these, you're going to be looking at the APRE6, the A are either sex, the mature bull. These are mostly the population management hunts. So now that we've decided that we're going to apply for elk, we've looked this over. We definitely want to have our hunt codes ready. We wanted to look in the Big Game Rules and Information booklet and pick out those hunt codes that you want. Once you've done that, if you go over here to select a hunt and it doesn't give you anything, then you know that you haven't selected the weapon. So the first thing you have to do is select the weapon. Any legal weapon, which is any legal weapon, rifle, bow, muzzleloader, or crossbow. So if you want to hunt with a crossbow in rifle season, then you're welcome to do that. So that's any legal weapon, archery, and then muzzleloader. So let's do a rifle hunt. We're going to click on here, and this is going to give you every hunt code. You can scroll up and down. Every hunt code for rifle hunts in New Mexico. And it's going to start out in Unit 2, 5, and it's going to go all the way up to unit statewide. Now, you look at this tag, and people might be going, elk 17100 statewide. This is our special tag. We have a deer and an elk tag that, I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't put it as your first choice. If you draw this tag, then you can hunt anywhere in the state from September 1 till January 31st of next year, and you have a great opportunity of killing a monster elk or a really good elk. So that's that. If you don't, you're comfortable with where you're going, and you don't want to throw away one of your hunt choices, then you're definitely going to go up and look where you want. So for me, if I was, again, you're going to look and you go down through here, it talks about the hunt. So this is a mature bull. You get down here, and these are either sex hunts. So, you know, you're looking in Unit 28, you can hunt either sex, December 11th to 15th. And then all the way down. Now, if you notice something that's missing from here, you see any cow tags in here. There are no antlerless tags, and there's a reason for that. The reason being is, and I'll show you on the next encounter, I can show you online, is that non-residents cannot apply for or hunt cow tags through the public draw or on wildlife management areas in the state of New Mexico. A law came out stating that all cow tags would go to New Mexico residents. So that's not on there. So In your account, if you guys go to apply and you are a resident, you will see amethyst tags. So I'm non-resident. I'm from Alabama. I know Unit 16A. I've been there. It's south of Reserve in the Gila. It's great. Again, these license fees are non-resident license fees. I'm going to click on that, and it's going to go in there. Now I have 3 choices. I can do another rifle hunt, or I can go to muzzleloader. I go to muzzleloader hunt. I'm going to go to, oh, there's 16A. There's no muzzleloader hunts in 16A. So let's say Unit 15. I'm going to apply for that Unit 15, which is just north of the highway reserve. Then I'm going to go down in archery. I'm going to put as my 3rd choice. I'm going to go back to 16A. I always tend to go with the later season hunts on elk, just because I think as warm as it's been, it's a little cooler. The weather starts to move in, and I think those elk are active during the second hunt. But you never know. It's a catch-22. If you put in for the late hunt, then they rut in the middle. So it's really this 4th choice. So on this one, you can either opt to not choose it, or you can choose the quadrant of the state: northwest, southeast, southwest, or northeast. And what that is if you don't draw any one of these 3 hunts, but there is a tag left over in one of these quadrants, you're saying that you will accept it. Okay? You don't know where it's going to be, you don't know what unit it's going to be, and you don't know what time frame it's going to be. But if you just went on that list to say, hey, I'll take any tag that comes available, then you would choose one of these quadrants. So I'll say, you know what? A lot of good elk in the northeast, southwest, and southeast. We got elk in Farmington. I'm going to say southwest. So if a tag comes available, then I can do that. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, on your 4th choice, is there a fee for the 4th choice?
No,
Not to apply, but if you do get a tag, is there a fee with that?
Absolutely, yeah. If you draw, it's going to be the same price as if you're actually buying an elk tag. It'd be more of a kind of like a over the counter, but it's a draw too, and it'll just come out of the same. And if it happens to be a cheaper tag, say you put in for this mature bull tag, and it's a quality hunt, and the one that comes available on the 4th choice is not a quality hunt, then you'll get that other money refunded. This 4th choice is going to be a population management call list, and that's what we talked about earlier when I said you want to make sure that you have your phone number in the system. Again, if we have a management hunt, I'm going to say yes, because a lot of times these are great hunts, because say we're having issues with elk in Bosque del Apache, somewhere on the river further up north, and we want to shoot some of these animals and get them out of there. We know they're there. We're having issues right now. We will give you a call without your number. It's very hard to contact you. We can contact you via email, but the time it takes you to get back to us, there's almost so much time we can allot to that email before we have to move on to get those next number. So put that in there. Outfitter info for outfitted hunts only. So if you are applying through an outfitter, this is where you're going to want to click yes. If you're not, just going to click no. So to apply for the 10% drawing pool, you have to have a signed, so non-residents, you've got to have that signed contract with an outfitter prior to applying, okay? And so if you click yes, guess what it's going to ask you for? It's going to ask you to confirm as a non-resident that you do have a contract, and you have to have that outfitter number, and then you have the option of that license going directly to your outfitter or directly to you. So as a non-resident. So residents, you won't see that. As a resident, you're going to click no. You won't even see that information there. And go on down the road. Or if you don't want to opt for an outfitted hunt as a non-resident, boom, you're going to go into that other pool. Carcass tag requirement, again, we're talking about that. Here is where you're going to click that you want the e-tag option if you do. Okay. So if you do want that e-tag option, make sure that you click there. This is just confirming that you have reviewed this section. Your address is correct to where it's going to be mailed. You want to double check this, because if you're going to be, say, in New Mexico, during the time these are mailed out, say you're going to be here staying with a friend, you can have this mailed to your friend in New Mexico. So, pretty neat option. So, I don't do e-tag. I like the regular tag for now. There's some animals. Bear would be a good option for e-tag for me. But I'm going to acknowledge that that's correct. And then again, I'm going to add this to my cart. Now, so we can go through that process many times for deer and all the other species. But for a time-saving crunch, we're going to go up to the shopping cart. And this is going to show you exactly everything you have. It's going to tell you that you have your game hunting habitat stamps were here a while ago. Now it's going to say that you put in for elk. Okay, you can edit or you can delete it. Now understand, once you apply for this hunt, it's $773 as a non-resident, and say it's a $90 fee for a mature for a mature bull, say that 5 times fast, for a resident. If you delete this application, if you go apply and you go through this process and you check out and you pay for it, if you go in and decide that that's not the hunt you want and you delete that application, you're not going to get any of this money back until after the draw is complete. It will delete the application. You can reapply, but that money's going to stay there until the draw has been complete, and then it comes back minus the $7 or the $13 application. So just keep that in mind. Once you pay for it, once it's there, there's no editing it. It can only be deleted. So that's why you want to make double sure when you get to this step that you get back in the book and look and say, okay, book 1, 242, that's my first, and your second and third. If it's not, and you hit edit, you can go back and edit. Okay. So from here, you can apply for another species, or you're going to check out. We're going to go ahead and check out, and I'll show you that process. Again, it's going to talk about some things. It's going to tell you that you will be charged $847 when you submit this form. All sales are final. Again, you're not going to get back the game hunting license. That's a mandatory license. And then you're not going to get back the $7 or the $13 application. Again, the terms of agreement, you're going to read those. You're going to click that. So it's going to tell you your current residency status is non-resident. It'll also tell you here what you have to do to qualify as a resident. So if you have any questions about that, that'll tell you. So by checking this box, you're agreeing that your status is correct. So if you're a non-resident and you actually put resident there, then you'd be like, okay, I can go back, go in and make that change, call the information center and get that change. So here, we're going to go in. It's going to be credit card only this year. There's no option for cash this year. I don't believe our offices will be open with the way things are going. So it's going to be credit card. You're going to click on that. And then here, we're going to go put in your information. So we're going to do, my name is New Mexico. My last name is Game and Fish. And then I'm going to enter my credit card number. Save card. All right. So this popped up. It says could not read from LAB at state.nn.us. If there's something that pops up, it's going to tell you here. This is test purposes only, so just go ahead and ignore this. But once you've done it, my credit card number went through. Good luck using that credit card. It's a fake number. So here it tells me my address, my game hunt combo. I can go here. I can view my receipt. So this receipt is not valid. Again, this is in test mode. This is what your receipt will look like. It will show you, you can print it out. It says that this is what you purchased. Okay. And go down here. We're going to review this. This is where you're going to pick up your application number and your attach code. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to do application number, which is 143-12053, and then my attach code is A6F7W8. And then what I'll do is I'll show you here in a second by logging into the other account how you would apply attached to another application. Here you can review this. When you review this, it's going to tell you everything that you applied to. You applied your first choice was Elk 1 242, your second, third, you chose Southwest as your fourth option, and then yes on your fifth. Again, it's going to tell you right here, this is your mailing address. If for some reason that changes, you definitely throughout the year, you move or you want it mailed somewhere else, you definitely want to go in and change this. That way it's sure you get that, okay? And then it'll tell you the card holder, your credit card number, it was approved, the application fees, is paid by credit card, and the amount due is 0. So if you're like me, sometimes I like to do screenshots and save that information. It's just kind of, an extra step for me in case there's a question, which we've never had. It's always been good, but I like to have those receipts and things. Now, if you go back to Draw Hunt or go to My Purchases, here we have in My Purchases the same thing. So if your buddy calls you and says, hey, I need that application number and I need that attach code so I can apply on your application, then you're going to go right here. You're going to click on My Purchases, and those numbers are right here. Okay. So we did that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to log out of this account now that we went through the application process. If you decide later that you want to go in, say you get back to your home, you're on your account, and say you want to go back in and you decide, hey, I'm going to go ahead and apply for here too. All you got to do is come over here to Hunt Draw Applications. It's going to tell you that you've already applied for this. And then you just click on Apply Now for Draw Hunts, create new application, or attach. Okay. So now, what I'm going to do, I can show you how to do that attach. If you're going to log into my other account that I created, and so my username is BuckHunter1234. Passcode perfect. Now we're in John Buck's account. If we go to John Buck's account and we go to his purchases to see what he's done, he's already applied for deer. Look at that. But looks like he deleted it. So he obviously didn't want to go. Obviously a resident. Game hunting, fishing with stamps was $39. So he talked to his buddy, decided that he wants to go hunting with him. So he's going to go to Draw Hunt Applications. He's going to go down here and click Apply Now. And then since he got the attach code and the application number, he's going to click right here, Attach to an Existing Application. So the application number I wrote down was 143-12053. The attach code was A6F7W8. Again, it's going to ask you what kind of tag you want. If you want the e-tag option, means you won't receive a paper tag. I'm going to get a paper tag. I've confirmed that my mailing address is where I want it to go. I'm not taking an e-tag. I'm going to hit continue. Application has been added to your cart. Thank you for reviewing. So if we go to look up here, here's your shopping cart. You're going to click on that and looky there. It's already figured out the hunt codes and your fees. So all you have to do now is check out. Again, he's only $90, like I said, because he's a resident. The Big Fish from Alabama is a non-resident. Then I'm going to ask you the information, and then again, you're going to go through the process of paying. Once you pay, then it's going to show back up here in your account. On that note, under the application process, if you go, let me show you here. I'm going to go back to draw hunt applications. I still got that in the cart. What I can do is if I want to, I can delete it. I'm going to delete it because I'm not ready with it, so it's not there. I'm going to go to draw hunt applications, and this is the only other caveat to the draw and using authorization codes and numbers. In certain units, like units 2, 4, 5A, if you're going to be hunting private land, let's say you found out that you're new at hunting, but a family member owns a ranch in unit 2, and they've given you permission to go hunt near there. When you go into apply for hunt, you're going to do a create new application. You're going to go to the first draw hunt. You're going to go deer. And so if you go here to select any legal weapon, and you go here and you see a unit 2 hunt, it's going to say unit 2 private land only. See that? So if you go down here, it's going to tell you authorization is required for private land hunts in unit 2A, 2B, 2C, 4, and 5A. So if you're going to hunt that private land hunt there, then you need to get that authorization code, and you get that number from the private landowner that owns the land. Say you just bought a landowner authorization from you get that, then that's where you put it. If you happen to be the private landowner of one of those ranches, then you would contact the private land biologist or the department for your area, and they can provide you. Units 4 and 5A are limited. 2A, 2B, not so limited. They are in a sense, but we usually don't use those up. 5A can. So that's the only other difference when you're applying for a private land. Say in unit 2A, it's going to tell you automatically. If you go here and you check say unit 9 hunt, this hunt's going to tell you that this unit 9 hunt includes Water Canyon and the Marcus Wildlife Management Area. So you can hunt all of unit 9, including these 2 WMAs. So it's always going to give you some information below it. This will tell you private land, and again, if you do opt for one of those, then you do need that authorization. So, any questions out there, Tristana, Jeremy, that we can go back over, or somebody would like to see more of?
So when you attach an application, or maybe how many people can attach to an application?
Okay, deer, elk, javelina, lots of those things. You can apply up to 4 people per application. When you're talking ibex, oryx, bighorn sheep, then it's limited to 1 or 2 applicants. So, and all that information, again, the big game rules and information booklet, if you're new to New Mexico Game and Fish, each state has them. Go in there and look. It's going to tell you if you want to learn about oryx, go to the oryx section and it'll tell you everything you need to know about it. Again, if you have any questions, give us a call. We're here to help you out and get you through the process and help you draw. So I've got a lot of calls from people already applying, wanting some help with information. So it's good to see. We'd rather see you have a a fair shot at drawing and not mess up your application than to make one little mistake and miss the opportunity.
And then another question we just got, can you do a first choice for deer and a second choice for elk?
Okay, great question. No, when you're applying, if you're applying for elk, all elk have to be on that application. And if you're applying, it's got to be all deer on that application. You can't do elk, deer, elk. So, and you can only apply for one big game species per year. So, you can go in and apply for elk. Once you've applied for elk, it won't let you go back in and apply for elk. It allows you to apply one time for one species. So, you can apply for every one of them. You can apply for deer, elk, Bighorn Sheep, Barbie, and all. Just throw the credit card at it and go at it and have fun and hope you draw a hunt, but knowing that you can only apply one time for each species. You get three choices, but only one time.
So you can do elk, your three choices, your deer, your three choices, Bighorn Sheep, a couple of choices, for Rockies and for deserts. You can apply for as many as you want, just up to three choices per species.
Absolutely, and that's three choices, and then you also got the two alternative, which is some of them have a fourth choice and some of them have a fifth choice. So you have that opportunity. But yeah, back in the day, you could only apply for sheep when you're applying. It was you could apply desert, rocky, and then desert. Now you can apply for all desert hunts and then rocky hunts.
Can you accumulate points in New Mexico?
Another great question. New Mexico is one of those states that does not do preference points. We did years and years ago, but we do not do them now. It's just you have the same chance of drawing every single year. I really like that option. I know, Tristana, you're from Arizona, and it took you how many points to draw a deer tag in Arizona?
Yeah, my last year had, I think it was 16 years between when I drew deer in Arizona. So it's great to have the opportunity to draw every year. Personally, that's my opinion.
Yeah. And you know what? And the thing about that is it's great to have that option to be able to apply and draw every year. Where in places like, and it's a lot more expensive now. It costs you quite a bit of money to apply in Arizona as a non-resident. That's $300 for a deer tag, and that's money that you're spending towards a preference point. So you don't get that money back. So it can get pretty pricey over years. And so for me, I love the option of having the same chance to draw every year, not having that preference point system.
Okay, and then if you apply for a couple different species and the hunts happen to be at the same time, can you work with the department to do a deconflict and maybe change a hunt?
No, that's a great question. There's only a couple reasons that you can transfer a tag, and those are listed. Death in the family, a broken leg, or something like that. But that's a great question, and that's why it's really important to look at your hunt dates and understand and make sure that you don't have any conflicts. I do that heavily every year, just because I know that one year that I put in for that awesome elk tag and that awesome deer tag, and they have the same date, because I know I'm never going to draw them at the same time, I'll end up drawing them at the same time. So it's important to look at that and watch that. So make sure that you don't do that.
And if you get drawn, the question is if you win, which definitely if you get drawn for anything, you feel like a winner all the way around.
Absolutely. It's like getting the Powerball right now.
Exactly. So if you get drawn, are there any additional fees that need to get paid?
There's only a couple of circumstances that you might have to pay additional money, and that's if you draw an Oryx tag on, say, White Sands Missile Range or Gregor Range. Then you're going to have to pay an additional fee that they require. I believe it's $100. It may be $150 now. So if you draw Oryx on White Sands, I believe they're going to charge you a $150 fee to come on the range. So, but other than that, no. When you get that license in the mail, you're going to have those extra added fees of gas and ammunition and food. So we make sure that when you check out, that money is all taken, and when you get that license, you're ready. Except, I'm sorry, let me back up just real quick. If you apply for the deer, the bear or the turkey draws right now, you're only paying that application fee. If you do draw, then you will have to buy the bear license, and then you also have to buy the turkey license. So those are the other two circumstances where you additional fees.
And the other one I can think of is if you don't get that habitat stamp, now when you're applying for the draw, you will have to purchase that before you go hunting. And as Ross said, right now it's $5, but there's a new rule in place that goes into effect on April 1st that will make it $10. So if you plan on hunting, it will definitely be beneficial to save that $5 and go ahead and purchase it now.
Yeah, that's a great point. You do have the option of not choosing habitat stamp. But if you're going to be fishing or you're going to bird hunt, might as well go ahead and get it.
And if you don't get drawn, how long does it take you to get your money back, and how much money do you get back?
All right, great question. Usually within a few weeks. I think it's been a couple of weeks. We're pretty quick about that. Once everything's done and everything's finalized, within 2 to 3 weeks, barring no issues, that money comes straight back to your account. Or if you paid, that's fine. If you're doing something different, make sure it goes directly back onto that credit card. The only thing you're not going to receive back is that application fee. And that's either a $7 fee for residents or a $13 for non-residents. So those are just fees that you don't get back, and you don't get back that game hunting license. That's mandatory. You have to purchase that. Me, every year, I buy that game hunting and fishing license. If you fish and you hunt small game, then it's smart to go ahead and buy the game hunting and fishing license right now, because it's going to be cheaper. You get a discount by buying them both at the same time. And I'm going to be using them anyways. I'm going to go bird hunting, and then I'm also going to go fishing. So I just go ahead and buy those right now. And again,
I do as well.
Yeah.
I'm always afraid I'll forget to buy them later on, and so I'd rather just get them and have them in my possession and be illegal instead of worrying about it at the last minute.
There is that fear that you're like, I'm just going to hold off on the habitat stamp to see if I draw, and then you draw and you forget all about it, and then you're in the field, and you look down and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't have my habitat stamp. You got to drive all the way back.
And how do over-the-counter tags work, Ross?
Over-the-counter tags are just that. When you're talking antelope and deer, deer, it's private land with written permission. It has to coincide with a hunt on public land during that time. Turkeys over the counter, you can just go buy that license over the counter. Most bear hunts are over the counter, except for the few draw like the turkeys over the counter. You just go buy them. Antelope, you're going to get that authorization from the private landowner. To buy a deer tag, you don't have to have that written permission to buy that over-the-counter deer tag. So purchase it, but you do need it when you're on that private property. So make sure that you do have that in your hands, because if you get stopped by a game warden or conservation officer, then you're definitely going to need that. But those are just over-the-counter. We have some Barbie sheep over-the-counter tags. What happens with a lot of people, and it's pretty smart, think about it, Barbie sheep. Go ahead and apply for Barbie sheep if you want to hunt Barbie sheep right now. And come March 17th, if you do draw, then you've got a Barbie sheep tag that's good not only in a draw area, but in the meantime, if you want to go to an area that's not a draw, that's outside the draw unit, that's over the counter, the Barbie 1-300, then you can go hunt that all year long until your hunt comes around. And if you happen to harvest one earlier, then that's fine. So something to think about. Go ahead and apply for that Barbie. It's a tag that's good everywhere. but over the counter is over the counter. If you have any questions, let us know. If somebody has a question about a certain over the counter species, hopefully that answered your questions.
It does. And does over the counter literally mean that you can walk into any licensed selling agent or go onto the website and buy it?
Absolutely. One thing you need to be aware of, though, if you're going to purchase that online, do it at least 2 weeks in advance, because it's going to take 2 weeks to process that and get that license and tag. The license is instantaneous. The tag has to be mailed to you, and unless you choose an e-tag option, it's going to take up to 2 weeks to get that tag mailed to you.
Yes. And that e-tag, if you decide right now you wanted to go hunt Barbie, you could do the e-tag and go out this weekend, perhaps. Just make sure you have your phone battery charged so you can record your harvest if you get one.
That's right. Definitely want to carry that extra battery.
And can you explain the weapon types? And for instance, does a bow automatically fall under any legal weapon, or when can you use archery equipment?
Yeah, so any legal weapon. So
Don't sign out of that. We're going to come back to John's.
I wasn't. I was going to go to publications so I can show everybody. So any legal weapon is, let's go to glossary. When you're hunting any legal weapon, again, any firearm, muzzleloader, compressed air gun, shotgun, bow, or crossbow. All firearms except handguns must be designed to be fired from the shoulder. Legal sporting arms for each species are defined on these pages. So it basically right here under any legal sporting arm tells you what that is. So you can use any one of these under any legal sporting arm. Now, I don't mean that you can go out and use the compressed air gun for deer or elk. So you can use a rifle, because each species has its own definition of what's legal to use. So if for elk, you can use a rifle, a muzzleloader, a bow or a crossbow, then under any legal sporting arm for those, you can use those types. Now, when you talk a bow and arrow, we're talking compound, recurve, or longbow, which is not equipped with a mechanical device, which is a draw lock, which you lock that bow back and it holds it for you. You want to be able to hold your own bow. Sights on the bow cannot project light. However, illuminated pins and reticles and spokes of any magnification are allowed. So the pins obviously have magnification, or not magnification, but they draw in light, so they kind of light up. And then also you can use a scope with a magnification. Under a bow, you can use a bow and anything under it. And basically, that's a bow. Okay, there's not much under a bow. That's a compound bow, a recurve bow, or a long. The only time that you can use a recurve bow during a bow hunt is if you are mobility impaired. So, but you can use one under any legal if you're not impaired. Muzzleloader, let's go down to muzzleloader, show you that. So it's a sporting arms in which the charge and projectiles are loaded through the muzzle. Only black powder or equivalent black powder substitutes may be used. You cannot use a smokeless powder in a muzzleloader. Then we also have what's called a restricted muzzleloader. Probably going to tell you under, yeah. So page 125, it talks about restricted muzzleloader. We have some restricted muzzleloader hunts. Basically, that's bringing you back to the old Hawken cap and ball, round ball, no sides. You can only use, the pin sides. You can't use spokes or anything else. So we do have that restricted muzzleloader hunt. Again, muzzleloader, that's very important. The use of smokeless powder is prohibited. Make sure that you use black powder or an equivalent like 777 or something.
And then can you go back into John Buck's account and show us the big game, or I'm sorry, not big game, Bighorn Sheep. If you're gonna apply for Bighorn Sheep, that one looks a little bit different in the setup. Will you show us how that works?
Yeah, that was a boy. I'm just kidding. Yeah, this one, Bighorn sheep is a little different, and this one you're going to want to make sure that you have that rules and information booklet in front of you. I'm going to go to create a new application, continue, draw two, and we're going to go to Bighorn sheep. All right. So it looks pretty simple, but it's going to get a little crazy here in a second. Watch this. When you select the weapon type, go rifle. We're going to go, we have three choices. We have this one, which is 16B, 22, 55, all those, the 201. The 202, which is units 45, 49, 50, and 53, which is basically Pecos Wilderness, Gold Hill, all that country. And then the Bighorn Sheep 204, which is a unit 13, 17, 19. So basically the Palencios, the Hatchets, unit 13, the Ladrone, 17, which is over by the San Mateos, and then the San Andreas Mountains. So let's do, this is a U-hunt only. So this is your desert Bighorn sheep, and this is your Rocky Mountain Bighorn sheep. So we're going to click on this one. So you have three choices under that. Here we go. So these are all of your choices. So you can use 16B, which is down by Glenwood, San Francisco River, and the Turkey Creek area. You've got the two Pecos hunts. You have the unit 53, which is Wheeler Peak. Then you have Latier Wilderness, the Rio Grande Gorge, and then the Dry Cimarron. And if you don't know where the Dry Cimarron is, that's in the very northeast corner of the state. It's right on the Oklahoma and Colorado border. It's neat country. In one day on one place, I've seen bighorn sheep, white-tailed deer, mule deer, turkey, elk, and antelope. It's pretty incredible. So let's say I'd like to go down in 16B to there. So I'm going to use that one as my first choice. My second choice, I like the Latiers Wilderness, which is in northern New Mexico. I'm going to use that as my second. And then I'm going to do the Dry Cimarron as my third choice. We can go again, do any legal weapon. And we're going to go to the deserts. I'm going to put in for the Ladrones, which is there by Silver by Sapporo. I'd like to put in for the Hatchets, because I know there's good sheep and hatchets. And then for Cristobal, this is the ladder, not ladder, but the Armendariz Ranch of Tetra. And so there's going to be some restrictions. You have to work with that ranch to go hunting there. You get access. You have to talk to the guides and go from there. The San Andreas is the mountain range in between basically Las Cruces, not the Organs, but the north side of the highway between White Sands and Las Cruces. And then the Caballos is just east of the Caballo Lake. It's the Caballo Mountains, and we got sheep in there. So I know I saw a really nice ram taken out of the San Andreas this recently. And so then again, you can go to your third choice, and you can do any legal, and you can do a U-hunt, or you can go in and check another different hunt. You know, we can do the Pecos this time. We're going to do Wheeler Peak, and then let's say the Rio Grande Gorge. And so that's a lot of information, and that is a lot of plan. So fifth choice, you can do yes. Probably not going to get a ram hunt, but there are some circumstances where we may need to thin the population of ewes in some units, maybe the gorge area or somewhere else. So we would give you a call, and again, you would be on that phone number list to do that population. But yeah, so as you can notice from this, it's a lot of information. This is one you're going to want to sit down and study and figure out, do I want to hunt? What's more important to you? First of all, deserts or Rockies. So you can put, you know, your desert choices as your first, and then Rocky as your third. Or if you say you've already harvested a Rocky Mountain Bighorn sheep, and then you go here and say, you know what? I want to hunt a ewe. So I want to hunt a ewe in the Pecos. I want to hunt a ewe on the other side of the Pecos, and then the Rio Grande Valley. So you could actually go in and harvest a ewe, and maybe you want to have a mount with a bighorn ram and a ewe together. I don't know. I was fortunate enough to harvest the desert bighorn sheep and the hatchets, and the meat is amazing. I mean, it was really, really good. It was some of the best meat I've ever eaten, and probably thinking that a ewe might taste even better. So just nothing more of an opportunity to go harvest the meat.
Thanks for going over that. I know last year I applied for sheep in the state for the first time, and it was a little bit confusing on that process. So, sorry. So a question a little bit off topic. I don't know the answer to this one, so I'm hoping that you do. Have you heard anything about e-bike access on general trails and then BLM lands or state bicycle trails?
So, that one I'm going to have to defer to law enforcement, because if you look at the rule, it states that you cannot drive off road on a motorized vehicle. An e-bike has a motor. Even though it's electric, it's still a motor. So I know there was some concern and some talk about that. I would say call law enforcement. I'll definitely call tomorrow and make sure, but I'm pretty sure their stance is going to be that, you can drive a regular bike. It's not motorized. You can jump on a cow trail or a bike trail or a gate that's closed to motorized vehicles. You can definitely jump on a mountain bike and get back behind that gate. But an e-bike definitely has a motor. So I think you're going to run into that. It's a motorized vehicle. Now, I know there's times that you can pedal it and it's assisted, so it's kind of a gray area. I still think it's motorized and it's still assisting you. So again, I hate to make the call on that. I'm going to say, refer that to you.
A great question. I didn't know the answer to it. Okay, we have several more questions, so let me jump back to the draw-related question. Can you, for the over-the-counter turkey, can you still hunt on public lands?
Absolutely. Yeah, there's only a couple places for turkey that are not over the counter. So let's go. So I'm going to click here, go to turkey. So most of it's over the counter, but if you notice here, this is where a draw permit is required for turkey. Unit 2A, the area east of Highway 550 and north of 173. So if you know where that is and you can't hunt, the Carson National Forest, and 2B and 2C are draw only. The Bias Caldera is draw only. Unit 8, which is the Sandia Mountains above Albuquerque and then also east, is draw only. Unit 9, which is the Marcus Wildlife Management Area. Unit 9, Mount Taylor, over the counter. But the Marcus Wildlife Management Area is draw only. So, and then also Unit 30, which is Washington Ranch. That's a ranch that's just a little ways south of White City. It's a ranch that used to be owned by the Game and Fish. It's a really cool ranch, and they have Rio Grande turkeys down there. So, and it's a draw only, and it's a youth only permit. So it's for the youth only. And then also Unit 33, our wildlife management area around Artesia, that's a draw only. And then Unit 55, which is the Bayou Ball. The Bayou Ball is draw only for bear and turkey. So, but that's it. Other than that, over-the-counter tags for fall, and then also the spring tags, it'll tell you exactly what's closed, Unit 2A. So make sure that if you're going to buy an over-the-counter tag and go, that you're not within one of these areas.
And I would like to put in for the turkey draw, it's the $7 application fee, but if you get drawn, you can still harvest 2 turkeys. So you can harvest one on, say, the Marquez or on one of these special units where you can only access through the draw and still go into a public land statewide hunt for your second turkey.
Absolutely. Good point. And the places that, like the Marcus or Unit 8 where you can harvest 2 turkeys. If you are fortunate enough to harvest 2 turkeys in those units, then you can. But one thing to realize about Unit 8, it's bow only in the Sandia Ranger District. So if you're going to be in the Sandia Ranger District, make sure that you're using the bow.
Okay, next question. Sorry, I was typing answers. Do you need to wear orange for a bullfo hunt or for any hunts in New Mexico?
Yeah, another good question. So, hunter orange is not required in New Mexico, but recommended if you're going to be on public. You know, it's just a safety option, especially if you're going to be bow hunting or you're going to be hunting, you're going to wear camo and you harvest an animal. Take something orange with you. Wrap that animal up in orange so people know when you're coming out that you're a hunter. Now, there are some places that do require 244 square inches of orange, and that's going to be McGregor Range. They also require a hat, and then White Sands Missile Range. So, although most places in New Mexico, all public land, it's not required. We just do recommend it because, you know, we just want everybody to be safe as possible.
And I'm going to jump back to the e-bike question. Mickey Bailey, who is a good friend of ours, here for the BLM, was on Facebook listening in, and she provided this link. I am uploading it to our chat here. I think, let me re-upload that for our chat. And it answers the e-bike question specific to BLM land. So thanks, Mickey, for tuning in and for helping us answer that question. I appreciate it. And then, are over-the-counter tags the leftover tags that didn't get drawn on draw 1 or draw 2?
Oh, they're going to be draw 2 tags.
The over-the-counter. So the over-the-counter tags are not allocated through the draw process, and so typically those are not, the over-the-counter are not leftover tags, but they are ones that are allocated in the rules and information booklet for over-the-counter specific, like Barbie sheep, right?
Yeah, those aren't done through an allocation process. Those are, of course, you know, we have limited deer and elk numbers, so we're doing the draw. But anything that's over the counter, like turkey or Barbie sheep or some of those, you know, if there's an over the counter javelina outside those areas, those don't fall within the draw process or count against those harvest numbers.
Perfect. And then, do you have the cost for a turkey tag right there, or I can pull it up if you don't have it handy?
Turkey tag. Go to. This is great. I love this online deal because you can just scroll through and it'll tell you draw licenses and fees. So this is going to talk about all your draw fees. This is going to be that. These prices right here include the $7 or $13 non-resident fee. I know, right?
And then while you're looking for that, Jim, basically the process to walk through for it and out of state for somebody to apply for a non-resident elk tag, archery tag, if you go back to the beginning of this webinar, and the link will be on our department Facebook page, you can walk through it step by step with us and go through the entire application process, setting up an account if you don't already have one, and then applying for your elk tag. So just refer back to the beginning of this, and if you have questions, let us know either on social media or through our information center. We can answer more specific questions there.
So turkey licenses for spring and fall is $25
for residents.
Yep, and $100 for page 11 of the Big Game Rules and Information booklet has all of those fees listed for anybody that wants to see those.
Right, I'm double checking. I believe that's all the questions that have come in on my end. So I think we can go ahead and wrap up, Ross, if you're ready. Is there anything you thought of that we missed?
No, I'm looking. We did everything. Make sure, just important, make sure that you get your harvest in. That's an important one. If you actually apply this year and you're watching, make sure that you get your harvest report in. Make sure that when you're applying that you don't buy this year's license and then go into the draw process and realize that you have to buy it again. I guess two of the most important things. And then, get your applications in early. I know you'll probably see something coming about some incentives for getting your applications in early. And so hopefully one of those will get you excited about putting your application in early, and hope you draw and good luck. And like I say, if you have any questions, don't be afraid to send us a message on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or give our information center a call. And we're here to help you. We want to make sure that everybody does everything right and has the best chance they can to draw a championship.
And I just wanted to make one additional note. Ross was working in the test mode, and so the applications that he put in tonight are not actually going into the draw that everyone will be eligible for. These are ones that will be kicked out of the system just because of this test process allows us to do these kind of presentations and show you how those systems work. So these will not be they will not be competing with you for your tag.
Right.
But I do want to remind everyone that we will be doing regular series. And so you can join us tomorrow night where we're going to be talking about the draw odds report. And then throughout the rest of the application period, we'll be talking with some of the biologists, so we can get into a little bit more detail on deer, elk, pronghorn, Barbie, ibex. And like Ross said, we are checking our social media accounts regularly, so make sure to shoot us a message or reach out to us through the information center. We are working on a new system in our phone center, but we are hoping to get those kinks worked out very soon. But we appreciate everyone's time both on Facebook and here in the Zoom. So thank you guys very much.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks everybody for coming. And please give us a call or shoot us a message if you have a question. Glad to help you.
Perfect. And I just responded to one message. I'm going to give them a second to pull that phone number.
I need to get the screen share.
You are good to end screen share. Okay, thanks, Ross. I appreciate your time, and we will see you all tomorrow night.